Hello, my dear friends. Today I'm talking about the origins of decans. To understand the origins of decans, we must first go back to the cradle of civilization, ancient Egypt. The Egyptians were pioneers in the development of astrology, with their observation of the stars serving as both a scientific endeavor and a spiritual practice. Their knowledge of the heavens was vast, and they divided the night sky into a series of star groups, each linked to specific deities and forces of nature. The Egyptians categorized the night sky into 36 decans, with each decan corresponding to a 10-degree segment of the zodiac. These decans were not just arbitrary divisions. They were deeply connected to the cycles of time, the gods, and the natural world. Each decan was associated with a specific star or constellation, and the rising of a decan marked a unique point in the annual cycle, which the Egyptians used to track time and determine auspicious moments for various activities. The decans were integral to the Egyptian concept of time, a time that was not linear but cycle. The ancient Egyptians saw the day as divided into 3 phases: morning, afternoon, and night. Each of these phases had a set of guiding stars, with the decans rising sequentially throughout the night to govern each of these periods. This division of the night sky into decans was intimately tied to their understanding of the cosmos and their relationship with the divine. In Egyptian astrology, the decans were considered vital for predicting the fate of people. The decans were associated with gods and goddesses. Each embodies specific qualities of energy. For example, one of the most famous decans associated with the star Sirius was linked to Isis, the goddess of magic, wisdom, and motherhood. Each decan would bring with it specific qualities influencing both the individual's destiny and the broader patterns of nature. The Egyptians also used the decans in their funerary practices. The Book of Death, a famous ancient Egyptian text, contains reference to the decans as part of the journey to the afterlife. The deceased was believed to encounter various decans on their way through the underworld, and the precise timing of these encounters was considered crucial for the soul's successful passage into the afterlife. The symbolism of the decans in Egyptian thought was complex, reflecting a deep understanding of the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. It was not merely about predicting the future or personal destiny, but about aligning the soul with the cosmic rhythm, seeing harmony with the forces of the universe. In the Hellenistic astrology, in a Greek culture began to absorb and expand upon Egyptian astrological knowledge, the decans evolved. The Greeks, particularly during the Hellenistic period, around 300 BCE and 300 CE, began to incorporate Egyptian astrological practices into their own system. They did not simply import the decans, but adapted them into a system that reflected their own worldview, blending Egyptian star lore with their intellectual and spiritual traditions. The Greeks saw the decans as subdivisions of the zodiac signs, with each sign containing 3 decans, each lasting 10 degrees. This division allowed for a more precise delineation of personality, traits, and life events. The decans thus provided a means to refine the interpretation of the natal chart by adding more detail and nuance to the general characteristics associated with each zodiac sign. Greek astrologers such as Ptolemy and his contemporaries included decans in their writings, although they did not always emphasize them as much as other techniques. Ptolemy's book Tetrabiblos a foundational work on astrology, briefly mentions decans through their importance grew in later texts, especially in the Hellenistic period, when astrologers began to experiment more with diving the zodiac into smaller segments for a deeper analysis of the horoscope. In Hellenistic astrology, the decans were often linked to planetary rulers, with each decan being associated with a particular planet. This helped astrologers identify favorable and unfavorable periods for action based on the ruling planet of the decan. Over time, these decans also became associated with specific degrees of the zodiac, which allowed for more precise timing in matters such as medical astrology and electional astrology. Electional astrology is the art of selecting the most auspicious time to undertake a task. Then, let's see in medieval and Renaissance astrology. As astrology spread throughout the Roman Empire and later into medieval Europe, the decans underwent further development. During this period, astrologers began to place more emphasis on the decans as a tool for predicting personal events, offering a refined understanding of the relationship between the planets, the signs, and the timing of events. Astrologers as William Lilly, one of the most famous English astrologers in the 17th century, used the decans in his horoscopic techniques. In his renowned work Christian Astrology, Lilly discusses the decans in relation to natal charts and their influence on personality and events. He emphasized the planetary rulership of the decans, which allowed astrologers to determine more specific qualities for an individual born under a particular decan. The Renaissance saw a revival of the classical astrology, including the techniques of the decans. Renaissance scholars began to rediscover ancient texts such as Picatrix, a comprehensive astrological tool. This period saw an increased interest in the mystical and magical properties of the decans, with many astrologers associating with each decan with gems, talismans, and ritual magic. How the decans can be used today? Now, in modern astrology practice, we have some practical application, and we have decans as personality profiles. Each decan is ruled by a planet and associated with specific traits. For example, a person born in the first decan of Aries is ruled by Mars and embodies the fiery, assertive qualities of Aries. Meanwhile, someone born in the second decan, ruled by Sun, will have a slightly different expression of Aries, emphasizing creativity and leadership. By examining the decans, you can gain a finer understanding of personality, not just through the zodiac sign, but through its decanic subdivisions. Then, using decans for timing, electional astrology. The decans can also be incredibly helpful in choosing the right time to take action. For instance, if you are planning to start a new business and want to select an auspicious date, you might choose a time when the moon is in a favorable decan, or ruled by Venus for creativity or Jupiter for expansion. Decans for predicting cycles. Just like the Egyptians used decans to track time, modern astrologers can use decans to find life cycles and patterns. Pay attention to which decan the transiting planets are activating in the natal chart, as this can give you clues about what themes may surface during a particular time period. For instance, a decan ruled by Saturn might indicate a time of hard work and discipline, while a decan ruled by Venus might indicate a time for relationship growth and artistic expression. Magical and mystical uses of decans. Many modern practitioners still use the magical properties associated with the decans. If you are into astrology and magic, Each decan has specific planetary associations, and this can be used to enhance rituals, create talismans, or select favorable dates for starting projects. Another subject that is important linked with the decans is about the context of planetary dignity and strength. Planetary dignity refers to the strength and effectiveness of a planet in a given sign, based on its position, essential nature, and relationships with other celestial bodies. Each decan adds a nuanced layer to this dignity, particularly because each decan is associated with a specific planet. By understanding the decans, we see that the planetary dignity is not just about the sign itself, but can be influenced by the specific decan the planet occupies. As a result, the energy of a planet will not always be experienced the same way depending on its decanic position. Knowing which decan the planets in your natal chart occupy allows you to gain a more precise understanding of how they will express themselves. So look in your natal chart and see, for example, the decan where is your rising sign or ascendant, where is your sun, and where is your moon. But you can take it each planet in your natal chart to see in which decan it is. So try to interpret this combination, the flavor of decan that brings to your points or planets in natal chart. I'm waiting your questions and comments down below. Until next time, I wish you all the best. Bye bye.